In the year 2247, humanity had spread far across the stars. People lived on dozens of planets and moons, but life was not peaceful. A war loomed, one that threatened everything humans had built. The Krillians, a race of insect-like aliens, wanted to take over the galaxy. They saw humans as weak and unworthy of the stars. For years, tensions grew. Now, it was clear that a fight was coming. Captain Ryan Carter sat alone in his quarters aboard the U.S. Vanguard *. He stared at a glowing map floating above his desk. It showed the edge of human space, where ships were gathering for battle. The Krillians had attacked several colonies already. Their weapons were powerful, their numbers overwhelming. Now they were heading toward Earth itself. If humanity did not stop them, billions would die. Ryan thought about his family. His wife, Emily, was back home with their young son, Jack. He missed them more than anything. But he also knew he had a job to do. As captain of the Vanguard *, he led a squadron of ships. 3 destroyers, 2 cruisers, and the carrier he commanded made up his group. Together, they were just a small part of the fleet preparing for war. Still, Ryan felt the weight of responsibility. If he failed, it wasn't just his crew who would suffer, it was everyone. The door to his quarters slid open, and Admiral Laura Bennett stepped inside. She was tall, with sharp features, and a no-nonsense attitude. "We've received new orders," she said without preamble. Her voice was calm but firm. "Earth is under direct threat. Every ship we have is being sent to the front line." Ryan nodded. "When do we move?" "Now," Admiral Bennett replied. "The Krillians are advancing faster than expected. We don't have time to waste." As the Admiral left, Ryan turned back to the map. Fleets from all over human space were converging near Proxima Centauri, close to Earth. Ships from distant colonies, some carrying crews who had never even seen Earth, were joining the fight. For the first time, humanity truly stood together, but Ryan wondered if it would be enough. Later, Ryan walked through the corridors of the Vanguard *. Crew members hurried past him, their faces tense but determined. In the engine room, Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks worked tirelessly, checking systems and making sure everything was ready for battle. Daniel wiped sweat from his brow as Ryan approached. "How are we looking?" Ryan asked. "We'll hold together," Daniel said with a tired smile. "But I can't promise miracles." On the bridge, Lieutenant Olivia Hayes reviewed tactical data. She was young but brilliant, with a knack for strategy. Beside her stood Lieutenant Marcus Green, a hot-headed pilot who often clashed with Olivia. Right now, though, there was no arguing, just focus. Ryan looked out the viewport at the growing fleet. Hundreds of ships floated in formation, waiting for the order to jump into hyperspace. Among them were vessels from independent colonies, each with its own flag and traditions. Some captains distrusted Earth's leadership, but they all shared one goal: survival. As the countdown began, Ryan took a deep breath. This was it. Humanity's fate rested on what happened next. The Krillians were ruthless, efficient, and deadly. But humans had something the aliens didn't: hope. Hope that they could protect their homes, their families, and their future. With a final glance at the assembled fleet, Ryan gave the order. "All ships, prepare to jump." The hum of engines filled the air as the fleet vanished into hyperspace, heading straight for the battlefield. Whatever awaited them, they would face it together. The fleet emerged from hyperspace near Proxima Centauri, a region of space close to Earth. The sight was overwhelming. Hundreds of ships stretched across the void, their lights twinkling like stars. Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge of the U.S. Vanguard *, his eyes scanning the vast formation. Ships from colonies as far away as Tau Ceti and Epsilon Eridani had joined the fight. It was a rare moment of unity for humanity, but tensions simmered beneath the surface. Not everyone trusted Earth's leadership. Some captains, especially those from independent colonies, resented taking orders from Admiral Laura Bennett. They argued that Earth always put its own interests first. Others worried about leaving their home systems undefended. The Krillians were ruthless, and no one knew if the colonies would be safe while the fleet was gone. Ryan heard these grumbles during briefings and in private conversations. He understood their concerns but knew there was no time for doubt. If Earth fell, everything else would crumble. Lieutenant Olivia Hayes worked tirelessly on the bridge, analyzing data and coordinating with other ships. Her calm demeanor masked the stress she felt. She knew the odds were against them. The Krillians had superior technology in numbers. Their ships were sleek and insect-like, designed for speed and precision. Human vessels relied more on brute force and ingenuity. It wasn't an even match, but Olivia refused to give up hope. "We've faced worse," she muttered to herself as she adjusted her tactical displays. Nearby, Lieutenant Marcus Green leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. He was a skilled pilot but had a reputation for being reckless. His clashes with Olivia were well known, and today was no exception. "Why are we wasting time with formations?" he asked loudly. "We should hit them hard and fast before they know what's coming." Olivia glared at him. "And get ourselves blown to pieces. We need a plan, Marcus. Charging in blind won't help anyone." Ryan stepped in before the argument could escalate. "Enough," he said firmly. "We don't have time for this. Focus on your jobs." Both officers nodded reluctantly, though Marcus still looked annoyed. Ryan sighed inwardly. Keeping the crew united was almost as challenging as fighting the Krillians. Below decks, Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks worked around the clock to ensure the Vanguard was ready for battle. The ship was old, patched together after years of service, and Daniel often joked it was held together by duct tape and determination. Still, he took pride in his work. "She'll hold," he told a junior engineer who looked nervous. "As long as we do our part, she'll get us through." Admiral Bennett called another meeting to address the growing unrest among the captains. Standing before a holographic map of the battlefield, she spoke clearly and confidently. "I know some of you question my decisions," she began, "but I need your trust now more than ever. The Krillians are coming, and they won't stop until we're wiped out. If we fight as one, we can win. If we let fear divide us, we're finished." Her words struck a chord with many, including Ryan. After the meeting, he approached her privately. "You handled that well," he said, "but morale is still shaky." Bennett nodded. "It always is before a big fight. Just keep your crew focused, Ryan. That's all we can do." Back on the Vanguard, the crew prepared for the inevitable clash. Weapons were checked, shields calibrated, and escape pods readied. Everyone knew the stakes. The Krillians weren't just an enemy. They were a threat to everything humanity had built. As the fleet moved into position, Ryan couldn't shake the feeling that this battle would change everything. For now, though, there was nothing to do but wait. The silence in space was eerie, broken only by the hum of engines and the occasional crackle of comms. Somewhere out there, the Krillians were approaching. When they arrived, the real test would begin. The calm before the storm didn't last long. Without warning, the Krillians struck. Their ships appeared in a flash of light, emerging from hyperspace like a swarm of deadly insects. The human fleet barely had time to react. Alarms blared across the bridge of the US Vanguard as Captain Ryan Carter barked orders. "Shields up. All hands to battle stations," he shouted. His voice was steady, but his heart raced. This was it, the moment they had been preparing for. Outside the viewport, sleek Krillian ships darted through space, firing beams of energy that cut through human defenses with terrifying ease. Explosions lit up the darkness as smaller vessels were destroyed in seconds. Lieutenant Olivia Hayes worked furiously at her station, coordinating counterattacks. "Target their lead ship," she called out. "Focus fire on the center of their formation." Her fingers flew over the controls, relaying commands to the rest of the squadron. The destroyers and cruisers responded immediately, unleashing volleys of missiles and plasma torpedoes. For a brief moment, it seemed like the humans might hold their ground. Lieutenant Marcus Green wasn't waiting for orders. He sprinted to the hangar bay where his fighter awaited. Climbing into the cockpit, he grinned despite the chaos. "Time to show these bugs what we're made of," he muttered under his breath. With a roar of engines, his squadron launched into the fray. They weaved between enemy ships, dodging blasts while firing their own weapons. Marcus's reckless flying style paid off when he managed to disable a Krillian dreadnought, crippling its engines. The massive ship drifted helplessly, creating a gap in the enemy lines. But the victory came at a cost. Human ships were falling fast. Smaller frigates exploded under relentless fire, their crews lost in an instant. The wounded overwhelmed the medical bay, and the cries of pain echoed through the corridors of the Vanguard *. Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks worked tirelessly below decks, rerouting power to keep the shields online. Sweat dripped down his face as he cursed under his breath. "Come on, old girl," he whispered to the ship. "Don't give up on me now." On the bridge, Ryan noticed something strange. Despite their overwhelming numbers, the Krillians seemed hesitant to engage directly with larger ships like the Vanguard *. Instead, they focused on picking off smaller targets. Was there a weakness in their strategy? Ryan leaned closer to the tactical display, studying the movements of the enemy fleet. Then it hit him. The Krillians relied on precise formations to maximize their firepower. If the humans could break those formations, they might gain the upper hand. Ryan quickly relayed his observation to Admiral Bennett. "We need to scatter their lines," he said over the comms. "If we can split them up, we'll have a better chance." Bennett agreed. "Do it," she ordered. "Take your squadron and disrupt their formation. I'll cover you." With renewed determination, Ryan directed his ships to launch a daring maneuver. The destroyers surged forward, drawing enemy fire while the cruisers flanked the Krillians from behind. Meanwhile, Marcus led his fighters in another strafing run, targeting the vulnerable spots between enemy ships. The plan worked, at least for a moment. The Krillians' perfect coordination faltered, and their attacks became less effective. But the lull didn't last. Reinforcements arrived, pouring out of hyperspace in waves. The human fleet was surrounded. Ryan clenched his fists as he watched the odds shift against them. "Hold together," he told his crew. "We're not done yet." Despite the chaos, a glimmer of hope remained. The Krillians weren't invincible. Humanity had found a way to fight back, even if only for a short time. And in war, sometimes, that was enough. After the intense battle, the human fleet retreated to regroup. The US Vanguard * limped back to a safe distance, its hull scorched and systems strained. Captain Ryan Carter paced the bridge, his mind racing. They had survived the first clash, but at a heavy cost. Dozens of ships were lost, and hundreds of lives gone in an instant. Still, there was something to be learned from the fight. The Krillians weren't invincible. Their reliance on precise formations and energy-based weapons hinted at a weakness. If humanity could find it, they might stand a chance. Lieutenant Olivia Hayes pored over data collected during the skirmish. Her fingers danced across the console as she replayed footage from the battle. "There," she said suddenly, pointing to a glowing line running along the spine of a Krillian ship. "That's what powers their weapons and engines. If we can hit that, we can disable them." Ryan leaned in, studying the image. The conduit looked fragile compared to the rest of the ship. "Can we target it consistently?" he asked. Olivia hesitated. "It's risky. Their shields are strong, but if we concentrate fire on one spot, we might break through." Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks joined the conversation. "We'd need to modify our targeting systems," he said. "And even then, it'll take perfect timing." Ryan nodded. "Do what you can. We don't have much time." Meanwhile, Lieutenant Marcus Green sat in the hangar bay, staring at his fighter. The adrenaline from the battle had worn off, leaving him restless. He replayed the dogfight in his mind, remembering the Krillian ships exploding under his torpedoes. For a moment, he felt proud. But then guilt crept in. Too many friends had died out there. "This isn't over," he muttered to himself. Not by a long shot. Admiral Laura Bennett called another meeting with the captains. She outlined a new strategy based on Olivia's findings. "We'll use decoy ships to draw their fire," she explained. "While they're distracted, smaller squadrons will strike at their conduits. It's dangerous, but it's our best shot." The plan required precision and teamwork, two things the fleet struggled with. Tensions between Earth-based commanders and colony captains still lingered. Some argued the risk was too great, while others insisted it was worth trying. Ryan listened quietly, weighing the options. Finally, he spoke up. "If we don't try this, we're just waiting to lose. I'll lead the spearhead strike." His words silenced the room. Everyone knew how dangerous the mission would be. But Ryan's willingness to step forward inspired others. Slowly, the captains agreed to support the plan. Preparations began immediately. Daniel worked around the clock, tweaking the targeting systems to focus fire on the conduits. Olivia coordinated with other ships, ensuring everyone understood the strategy. Marcus led training exercises for the fighter pilots, drilling them on precision maneuvers. "We only get one shot at this," he told his team. "Make it count." As the hours passed, the crew of the Vanguard grew quieter. The weight of what lay ahead pressed down on them. Ryan walked the corridors, checking in with his officers and offering words of encouragement. He stopped by the mess hall, where a group of junior crew members sat eating silently. "You've trained for this," he told them. "Trust yourselves and trust each other. We'll get through this together." Back on the bridge, Ryan stared out at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Krillians were planning their next move. Humanity couldn't afford to wait. The spearhead strike would happen soon, and Ryan knew it might be their last chance. Failure wasn't an option, not when so much was at stake. The spearhead strike began under the cover of darkness. Captain Ryan Carter led his squadron into enemy territory, their ships cloaked in shadows cast by a nearby asteroid field. The plan was simple but dangerous. Infiltrate the Krillian formation, disable key sections of their fleet, and create chaos for the main human force to exploit. Every crew member aboard the U.S. Vanguard understood the risks. This mission could turn the tide of the war, or end in disaster. Lieutenant Olivia Hayes monitored the sensors from her station, her eyes scanning for any sign of detection. "So far, so good," she whispered. "They haven't spotted us yet." Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly as she adjusted the controls. The Krillian sensors were advanced, and one wrong move could give them away. In the hangar bay, Lieutenant Marcus Green prepared his fighter squadron for action. He climbed into the cockpit, gripping the controls tightly. "Stay sharp," he said over the comms to his pilots. "We only get one shot at this." His usual bravado was tempered by the gravity of the situation. Failure meant death, not just for him, but for everyone counting on the mission's success. As the squadron approached the heart of the Krillian fleet, Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks worked feverishly below decks. He rerouted power to the ship's shields and weapons, ensuring they were ready for combat. "Hold together, girl," he muttered to the Vanguard. The old carrier groaned under the strain, its systems pushed to the limit. Despite the odds, Daniel refused to let the ship fail. Ryan gave the order to engage. The destroyers surged forward, drawing enemy fire while the cruisers moved into position. Olivia directed precision strikes against the glowing energy conduits running along the spines of the Krillian ships. Explosions erupted as the conduits overloaded, crippling several vessels. For a fleeting moment, it seemed the plan might succeed. Marcus led his fighters in strafing runs, weaving through enemy fire to protect the larger ships. His reckless flying style paid off again as he destroyed a Krillian frigate blocking their path. "Clear," he shouted over the comms. "Move forward." But then everything went wrong. Hidden reserves of Krillian ships emerged from behind a massive dreadnought, cutting off the squadron's retreat. Alarms blared across the bridge of the Vanguard. "We're surrounded," Olivia cried, her voice tight with panic. Ryan clenched his fists. All ships, prepare to jump to hyperspace, he ordered. There was no time to argue or hesitate. The surviving vessels activated their engines, racing toward escape routes. The Vanguard sustained heavy damage during the withdrawal, its hull battered and scorched. Still, it held together long enough to make the jump. Back at a safe distance, Ryan stood on the bridge, watching the smoldering wreckage of the Krillian ships they had left behind. They hadn't won the battle, but they had dealt a significant blow. Admiral Laura Bennett hailed Ryan personally. "You've bought us valuable time," she said. "Well done." Ryan nodded, though pride felt distant. Too many lives had been lost, but there was no time to mourn. Humanity still faced an uphill fight, and the war was far from over. The human fleet regrouped after the spearhead strike, licking its wounds and preparing for the next phase of the war. Captain Ryan Carter stood on the bridge of the US Vanguard studying a holographic map of the battlefield. The Krillians were still a formidable enemy, but their numbers had been reduced. More importantly, humanity now understood their weakness. Admiral Laura Bennett's new strategy focused on exploiting this knowledge, using hit-and-run tactics to wear down the alien fleet. Lieutenant Olivia Hayes worked tirelessly to refine the targeting systems. She coordinated with other ships, sharing data on the Krillian energy conduits. "If we keep hitting them where it hurts," she explained during a briefing, "we can break their momentum." Her calm confidence inspired the crew, even as they faced mounting losses. Each victory, no matter how small, gave them hope. Lieutenant Marcus Green pushed his fighter squadron to the limit, leading daring raids against the Krillians. His reckless bravery became legendary among the fleet. During one mission, he single-handedly destroyed 3 enemy ships, earning praise from both his crewmates and Admiral Bennett. But Marcus didn't care about recognition. He fought for the friends he had lost, and to ensure no one else would die in vain. Back on Earth, news of the resistance spread quickly. Civilians rallied to support the war effort, donating resources and volunteering for service. Factories worked around the clock to build new ships and weapons. Emily Carter, Ryan's wife, sent him a message. "Jack asks about you every night," she wrote. "He says you're his hero." Ryan read the words over and over, feeling a mix of pride and guilt. He wanted nothing more than to be home with his family, but duty kept him fighting. As the days turned into weeks, the tide began to shift. Humanity's smaller, more agile ships proved effective against the Krillians' larger vessels. Using decoy ships and feigned retreats, the fleet lured the aliens into traps, systematically dismantling their forces. Morale soared as the humans scored victory after victory. For the first time, it felt like the war could actually be won. But Ryan knew the Krillians wouldn't give up easily. They were desperate, and desperation made enemies unpredictable. One evening, he gathered his senior officers for a private meeting. "We need to end this," he said. "Not just push them back, but finish them for good." Olivia nodded. "Their homeworld is the key. If we can disable their central command hub, we'll cripple their entire operation." Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks frowned. "That's suicide. Their defenses will be insane." "It's risky," Ryan admitted, "but it's our best shot. Without leadership, the Krillians will fall apart." After much debate, Admiral Bennett approved the plan. Ryan volunteered to lead the mission, knowing it might cost him his life. Marcus stepped forward too. "You're not doing this without me," he said firmly. Olivia and Daniel joined as well, unwilling to let their captain face the danger alone. Preparations began immediately. The Vanguard was disguised as a captured supply vessel, complete with fake damage and Krillian markings. The ground team trained relentlessly, rehearsing every step of the infiltration. As the launch date approached, tension filled the air. Everyone knew the stakes. On the eve of the mission, Ryan walked through the corridors of the ship, speaking to his crew. "This is it," he told them. "Tomorrow, we take the fight to their doorstep. I won't lie. This won't be easy. But if we succeed, we'll save billions of lives. Trust yourselves. trust each other, and we'll get through this." The next morning, the Vanguard slipped past Krillian patrols and landed on their homeworld. Ryan, Marcus, Olivia, and Daniel led the ground team deep into enemy territory. Explosions lit up the sky as they fought their way toward the command hub. Each step brought them closer to victory or death. The ground team moved quickly, their footsteps echoing through the metallic corridors of the Krillian command hub. Captain Ryan Carter led the way, his weapon drawn and his eyes scanning for threats. Lieutenant Olivia Hayes followed close behind, clutching a handheld device that tracked the central control systems. Lieutenant Marcus Green brought up the rear, covering their backs with his rifle. Chief Engineer Daniel Brooks carried a heavy pack filled with explosives, his face tense but determined. The air was thick with tension as they advanced. Krillian drones patrolled the halls, their insect-like bodies clicking softly as they moved. The team stayed in the shadows, avoiding detection. At one point, Marcus took out 2 drones with precise shots, leaving the others unaware of the intruders. "Nice shooting," Ryan whispered. Marcus gave a quick nod, his focus unwavering. They reached the main chamber, a massive room filled with glowing panels and strange machinery. Olivia worked quickly, connecting her device to the control console. "I need a minute," she said, her fingers flying over the keys. "This system is complicated." Ryan kept watch, his heart pounding. Every second felt like an eternity. Suddenly, alarms blared, and the doors slammed shut. Krillian warriors flooded into the room, their weapons trained on the team. "We've got company," Marcus shouted, firing at the nearest enemy. A fierce firefight erupted. Ryan and Marcus fought side by side, taking down wave after wave of attackers. Olivia ignored the chaos around her, focusing on the task at hand. "Almost there," she yelled. Daniel crouched behind a console, setting up the explosives. "Hurry up," he called. "We can't hold them off forever." Finally, Olivia let out a triumphant shout. "Got it. The system is disabled." She grabbed her gear and joined the others as Daniel armed the explosives. "Let's move," Ryan ordered. They retreated toward the exit, dodging enemy fire as explosions rocked the facility behind them. Reaching the surface, they sprinted toward the US Vanguard which waited nearby. Enemy ships descended from the sky, trying to cut them off. Marcus fired his rifle wildly, keeping the Krillians at bay while the others boarded the ship. Once everyone was inside, Ryan gave the order to take off. The Vanguard lifted into the air just as the command hub imploded in a fiery blast. From orbit, the team watched as shockwaves rippled across the planet. The Krillian military infrastructure collapsed, leaving their forces in disarray. Within hours, the remaining alien ships began retreating, signaling the end of the war. Back on Earth, celebrations erupted worldwide. Billions of people poured into the streets, waving flags and cheering. Emily Carter held young Jack in her arms, tears streaming down her face as she watched the news. "Your dad did it," she whispered. On the bridge of the Vanguard Ryan stood silently, gazing at the stars. The cost of victory weighed heavily on him, but he felt a sense of pride. Humanity had proven its strength, not just in technology or strategy, but in unity and courage. As the fleet returned home, Ryan thought about the future. The scars of war would remain, but so would the lessons learned. Together, humanity had faced its greatest challenge and emerged stronger than ever. And for the first time in months, Ryan allowed himself to hope.